Hey, welcome once again to Heesh Worldwide Publishing News. This is your man, Prentice Johnson. I'm here just to bring you some information. This one is System Part 1. We're going into the coronavirus. I'm on Worldometers. Worldometers. Take a look at Worldometers. If you go to Worldometers, Worldometers has some great information to start you off with the coronavirus. You have population there. So if you're looking to do a report, looking for any information regarding marketing, so on and so forth, statistics, it's all on Worldometer. Okay. Doesn't break it down quite as far as the census. However, these general numbers are here for you. The statistics are here for you, and you're able to do ratios, all types of other things, just by coming here. Also, I have news.google.com COVID 19 map, and it also does display some information. The information is not exactly the same. There is just a bit of a difference. I think the worldometer is more accurate. However, you're able to see it in a whole different light when you look at the Google COVID 19 map. Okay. So let's start off by saying that we have been told that African Americans are most susceptible to COVID 19. We've also been told that this disease started in China, which is another strange thought. Okay. Now, when we take a look at this map, we're able to see by way of a broadcast type bubble that the largest affected areas are Caucasoid or Caucasian areas. Okay. Now, if you ask me, it's the reason is probably because of vacationing, going back and forth to these particular areas. All right. If you look at it, you got Europe, United States, Brazil, very high travel areas. Okay. But still, that doesn't diminish the fact that people are traveling all over the world. Okay. And once that disease got out and it's airborne, then everyone's susceptible to it. Okay. Now you got a broadcast bubble coming out of the United States that covers up portions of Canada and Mexico in North America. That's how badly the United States is infected with the coronavirus. Okay. And then you can look over to another Caucasian ruled area, Europe, and see that the whole Europe is plagued with large bubbles. But when you look at Africa and when you look at Asia, that's not the business. Okay. India somehow got it pretty bad. But I mean, as a whole, nowhere near as bad as Europe and the United States, where it was actually said that African Americans are most susceptible, which makes me believe that the reason that African Americans are more susceptible is not due to some genetics, but due to economic place. More African Americans are going to end up losing their homes. They're going to end up having to travel from train to bus, from bus to street, from street to train again. They'll be the ones touching metal, putting their hands on the mouth. They'll be more susceptible. When this first started, you looked at videos from Asia where people are getting on elevators and spitting on the elevator for people to get the disease. This is a panic video. And of course, you don't know whether it was a real video or not. But say it was. Can you see the bubbles in Asia as of today? It's been a year and a half. Are you understanding that? We were notified about this in 2018. It became an emergency at the beginning of 2020. Not government official, not not police officer, not staff in organization where there's people housed was prepared for this type of situation. They're the ones making the money. They're receiving our taxes. And nobody was prepared. An emergency situation. Now, without going back to 9/11, to generalize this issue and say these people are never going to be prepared for an emergency situation, let's take a look at these numbers and see what's going on and where it's going on. If you take a look, coronavirus worldwide, 106,209,227 coronavirus cases. Deaths are at 2,316,012 deaths. I was told that the possibility is 1 billion deaths from coronavirus. The president says it's going to get worse before it gets better. Nothing that anybody in the government has said have they really, truly, and quickly followed through with. They're giving themselves a time to press, and I don't believe that anything that they're doing is actually required by way of looking at these other countries. Let's keep that in mind. So we go down here and take a look. United States is on top. Just like it shows in the bubble, we got 27,483,291 cases of coronavirus. Okay. Now, active cases, 9,788,000. A pretty nice size recovery nationwide. Okay. But from this point, if you take a look at active cases versus recovery, all the way down, These countries, India, look how large the difference is between current active cases and total recovery today. All right. Oh, we're supposed to be the superpower. We're supposed to be the intelligent company or the intelligent country. We're supposed to be the fastest. But in an emergency situation, we're showing nothing but we're incapable of solving the problem fast enough. Look at France in an even worse situation. 3,005,000 active cases versus 232,000 recoveries. Okay, Spain probably the same thing. All right, how does that happen? How does it get that out of control? Let's take a look at the population ratios. Okay, because China holds a billion point four in population, and India a billion point three in population. And please keep in mind, as you're looking at this, that the United States is only a fourth and about a fifth in population of India and China. Okay. Uh, India and China are in the same continent. You can add their numbers together. Please keep in mind, these are the same continent. This is Asia right here. You can add these numbers together. You do the same for the United States and Canada and Mexico and add these numbers together. And those numbers will be oblivious compared to Asia by way of number as well as percentage. Look at the difference. Active cases in China, 1,234 active cases versus recovered 83,810. Look how many total cases there were in China. This is the place where it started, quote unquote. Okay? This is the place where it started. This is the largest populated country in the world. And this is how out of control it got. India, same thing, a little bit larger, a lot larger, but it's larger. It's nowhere near in comparison to the United States. And then as it goes lower, it drops. For Indonesia, recovered almost a million active cases, around 11%. Okay. And you can go down the line and see the same thing, man. And it's terrible. It's terrible. Even in Brazil, they're pushing 10% compared to the United States. Okay. So just keep in mind, this is the country that we're paying taxes to on a daily basis. These are the people that we're counting on every single day to make decisions. they get into office and everything is out of control in an emergency. If that's the case, what is happening in the legislature on a daily basis? How is it that the number one of the greatest business owners of all time, gets out in front of the country and explains that this is happening around the world and America doesn't heed that warning? How is that? But every other country does. How's it that they got a huge government, thousands of people, and they blame everything on the sole individual that is on watch, the president? How is that? Okay, let's take a look at the United States. The United States has 27,484,115 cases, 472,600 deaths, and 17,222,000 recoveries. Okay, large numbers in the larger populated states. Okay, and looking at these verses, man, I want you to take a look at these, man. Okay, because if you take a look here, my state, I did a lot of reporting here. Okay, I'm coming to you at the homeless level. I've done a lot of reporting. I got information to everyone in my government, governor, the mayors, people in United in Peace. I've gotten information to all of the broadcast stations and the radio stations. I've let them know what's happening from this level. Okay. And you can see by way of total cases, we're not that low on the totem pole when it comes to total cases. All right. Mediocre when it also comes to population. When you start taking a look at this, California is just passing the half mark, just getting to the half mark for recovered cases, recoveries. Would you take a look at this? New York is not, they're not making the mark, man. Okay. If you do a difference in recovery by way of total cases, it's staggering how many active cases are left over. Okay. And when you go down to Minnesota regarding cases, let's take a look here. Minnesota is now 41 regarding active cases. It makes me wonder what's been happening in these other states in the United States that has kept this going. How is it possible that everyone in the union Every state in the union hasn't combined their minds to make this diminish. Okay. Now they want to start putting a needle in people and acting like that's going to change something. And I can guarantee you, people, it's not. They have already taken one of our, Hank Aaron, one of our greatest baseball players, gave him the vaccine, and he has passed away. It's already happened. Not enough people know about this. They're not aware of what's going on. How did they stop it in Minnesota? Simplistically, they kept the people off the streets, man, in the best way that they could. Businesses opened up their rooms for people to be sheltered so that they didn't have to roam the streets. And you can see in California, it's not working out that way. They're still roaming. New York, they're still out there roaming. Florida, same thing. These states that aren't recovering immediately, it's because they're outside. There's no other way to get it. There's no other way to contract the virus without coming into the virus. You have to actually be around it to actually get the virus. You have to be around it. I know some of my brothers in Georgia who notify me of some things that are going on. I'm telling you right now, they are not making sure that those kids are inside during the virus. They're not making sure they're inside. They are going to school still. They are outside practicing. Now, a child can fight that off, but when a child goes back home to that person that's more susceptible to the virus, that person might get it. All you got to do is mingle with the people that have it. If you're going out for sports and you're outside running in the fall, you might contract it. They're down south where it's warm outside, so they're thinking that they can't get it. Man, it's not 80 degrees outside. The sun is not beaming down consistently all over the United States. Okay, so keep in mind, this is the factor that I'm thinking of when it starts coming down to how am I paying these people taxes? Okay, on top of a whole bunch of other things. Okay, so this is fair warning. They say that it's going to get worse. And if you ask me, the reason it's going to get worse is because we are actually complying with their answers. We're saying, okay, every single time they make a decision, and most of the time, I'm going to have to say 75% of the time, they're making bad decisions. At the very least, 75% of the time. They're not capable of handling a negative situation, an emergency situation. I need you to be aware of everything that they're not capable of handling. They're more capable of setting people up by way of drugs and alcohol. They're more capable of putting a bullet in an individual that is standing up for his rights. They're more capable of sending a police officer, literally sending a police officer to destroy a young black man's life than actually controlling an emergency situation. This is Prentice Johnson, Heesh Worldwide Publishing News. Catch me in part two of the system.